we all are one, made up of a love through all creation. There is an endless supply of the power that brings us here. And when we harness that life, you know nothing can stop us now. Yeah, and anything can happen right here. Yeah, so open your heart and start believing. Yeah. The only limit is your mind. You can have everything. Let's go beyond fantasy, heavenly, 'cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Knowing who we are, spirit of pure divinity, manifesting our dreams, stepping into the mystery. So we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Come on and step into the limitless who you are. I'll follow the path that leads to freedom. Yeah, yeah. You only need to let it be, 'cause everything there within. Ooh, you know, expansion is a natural thing, 'cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Knowing who we are, spirit of pure divinity, manifesting our dreams, stepping into the mystery. 'Cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Yes, we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. Knowing who we are, yeah, spirit of pure divinity, manifesting our dreams, stepping into the mystery. 'Cause we're living in a world of infinite possibilities. We're living in a world of infinite possibilities.
Please join me in prayer. We are so filled with gratitude on this fine Sunday afternoon where the air is chilly, crisp, and we have our health. We are all that God is, an individualized expression. I give thanks for everyone who's come here to celebrate our connection as we explore infinite possibilities and sacred kinship today. We are all part of a web of creation that is infinite, that is perfect, whole, and complete in form and substance. We are grateful for this. We are grateful for all the folks that have come together to make this service possible. And I know that everything that takes place here today will be absolutely perfect in every way. I give thanks for all those who come together to make this possible, for those here in this space with me, for those within the sound of my voice who hear this online later, and for everyone in the city of Aurora, state of Colorado, United States of America, planet Earth and everywhere in the universe where God's creation lives and flourishes. And I release these words in the divine law where they're already done in that universal divine mind. I let this go, I let it be, and together we affirm, and so it is. And I have some inspirational thoughts for us today. Our first one, of course, comes from our founder, the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes. Imagination is not a mere fantasy. It is the creative center of the universe at work in you. Our second quote comes from Dr. Michael Beckwith. When we surrender our personal will to the divine mind, the vision that emerges serves the good of all. From Raymond Charles Barker, dare to dream magnificently. The infinite can only give as much as you can imagine receiving. And once more, from the Honorable Dr. Ernest Holmes, we're each a center of the consciousness of God, and our dreams are divine ideas seeking expression through us. So we're here to talk about, our whole month has been focused on ancestral wisdom, based on the book Braiding Sweetgrass. And, our native brothers and sisters really had it right because they understand oneness, and it goes beyond just people. We're one with all of creation, every portion on this planet. We have humanity, of course, but we have winged people, we have water people, we have four-legged people, we have trees, we have rocks. Every single thing is a part of this creation, bar nothing. And we are related to that. The Mi'kmaq word for it is nogama, all my relations. And so this is what we're coming together to look at and talk about, is this wisdom here. And we're looking at infinite possibilities and sacred kinship. Infinite possibilities. We stick to the basics in the month of January. And so this is about the thing itself, which is that power, that one life that we call God. The thing itself. We talk about what it does, how it works, and how to use it. We can definitely use it. This is the creative power, that divine spark, the imagination within, the intuition, which goes beyond our ego minds, because we're kind of stuck in this material plane here. We're not stuck in it, but we're here to expand and grow and learn. And so what Science of Mind teaches us is to go beyond that and understand that we're a part of something larger. So you don't have God's mind or my mind and your mind. We have one mind, and we have access to that well of endless possibility, In sacred kinship, we share one life. And this is what we want to recognize. We've got a field of infinite potential here that we can work with. So let's begin with what Ernest Holmes calls the field of pure potentiality. He writes, there's a spiritual prototype, it seems to me, of truth, of love, of beauty, of justice. That's just another way of saying that whatever else the nature of God is, the nature of God is fundamentally life, truth, beauty, love, cause and effect, immutable law, excellence of every type, of every form. Every form. This is all perfect. This spiritual prototype, there are things like justice and truth and love, of course, that we can't touch. But if we look around the room, we see the architecture of this building we're in. We see the cars that we drove in. We see the instruments, the technology. Everything that we see with our physical senses was an idea in the mind of somebody that created it. The songs that were written here, that creative idea, there's a creative idea that we call Ken Jansen that brings forth music as a form of prayer, who shares, this is how he expresses, loves and serves, and he finds time not just for us, but for multiple communities. And it's out of joy that he brings this gift to the world. We all have these gifts that were available to us to bring to the world, Before any form manifests, before any condition appears, there exists in the universal mind a perfect pattern. There was a perfect pattern for Ken. There's a perfect pattern for Michelle. And God likes lots of, we've got more than one Michelle, God doesn't think we can have too many Michelles, okay? That perfect prototype, So if we look at stuff like peace and love and justice, that stuff is already existent. It's already here. It's here right now. If we're open to it, we access it. Even if we're not open to it, it's still there anyway, because others can access it, So, here's where this stuff gets exciting, Ernest Holmes teaches us that our mental equivalents of these spiritual prototypes can become our physical objective manifestations. What are we putting out there? I can kind of gauge where I'm at on any given day, and it'll usually start with running into unspiritual drivers early in the day, Okay, well, what did I do usually when I get up, I meditate. There are days I get up and I'm running and gunning, I'm in a hurry. I did not take time to center myself today. And I must be putting out a frequency that says all ratty drivers are welcome. Come, teach me patience and tolerance. Give me an opportunity to practice, When I prayed yesterday, did I mean it when I prayed yesterday? So, the only thing standing between you and the experience you want to have is you. Only I can block my own good. Nobody else can block my good. Nobody else can decide I'm going to be in a bad mood. Only I can take these things away from myself. And we get tripped up, by these conditions that are taking place around us. Start thinking, man, it's a bad day. Oh, it's too cold. There are too many bad drivers. I didn't get enough sleep. We can start going in and finding all sorts of stuff that is wrong. Or we can take a deep breath when we notice we're in these spots. And the very second that you notice you're in one of these spots, you're already back. You're already back on the beam when you notice. And we're a choice. We can make a decision to turn this around and have whatever type of day that we want to have, and all good things can come to us. Infinite good. There's infinite good. There's infinite power and source. We don't have to come up with that. We don't have to be infinitely good all the time. We're spirits having a human experience. So we recognize the limits of us and we point ourselves to a higher good. We recognize, because of sacred kinship, you know what? I'm not the only one going through this stuff. There's other people that are going through it. So here's a good promise that Ernest makes. There's no limit to what exists in the divine mind. The law of cause and effect responds to your thought. and in response to the content of the substance from which all things are made. It's infinite. It's infinite. If you can imagine it, it can happen. And when we take time to treat ourselves or do a spiritual mind treatment, we're not trying to manipulate the law. We're not trying to pull something out of nowhere, pull a rabbit out of our hat. We're aligning ourselves with that good that we want to see. And it can be given it to us in the degree that we're available to receive it. It's manifestation. We manifest from two different spaces. There's an ego space that that's the space that says, I want that fine car. I want that house on top of the hill. I want X number of dollars in the bank. I want a big shiny computer, Now, this is kind of where we learn, we learn to try to make physical demonstrations as we step into the law. That's what we learn. Stuff like love and justice and just constant inner peace. As we start down this road, if you're anything like me, those say, that sounds good, but how do you do it? That all sounds good. When we visualize from that higher place, we're looking beyond our personal needs. What's mine to do? What is Spirit trying to express through me? Why am I here? Who am I? Asking those deeper questions. Because we're spirits having a human experience. And so we got these lovely shells that are perfect for each one of us to travel in. But that's not the fullness of who we are. There's a spirit. There's this connection. There is that one life. And we're a part of it. We're unique, individualized expressions of that life. So with that, Ernest Holmes assures us that we're never limited, not in what is possible and not on what has gone before. The finite can never fully contain the infinite, but through our consciousness, we give the infinite a point of expression, a place to take form. So what's that energy that we're putting out there? It's not just our thoughts, but it's our feeling tone, it's our trust. And it takes practice. We practice. We get better at it. Our best gets better as we continue to do it. Now, here's a pretty radical proposition that Dr. Holmes came up with. Because Science of Mind teaches us that consciousness is cause in everyone's life. Not circumstances, not conditions, not other people. Consciousness. So what's the experience I'm having at the moment? It's not possible for us to be inspired at all times, every moment of every day. But what we have to work with in these teachings is the recognition that we're always at choice, and we can turn our day around anytime. Of starting my day over in the middle of the day, God knows how many times, Because it's not going too well. I'm running into bad drivers. It's never him, her, or them. It's always me. That's got to become different. I have that choice. I have these tools to recognize that this is possible. Spiritual tools, What takes place within is what we see outside. It's not what's going on without that comes in. So it's a lot of inner work that we have to do. And we do this inner work together. We do it together. We need reminders, people to remind us who we are, what we're trying to do. And in Dr. Holmes' estimation, we're all practitioners. There's degrees, there's levels of study, but we're all practitioners. So this law is very impartial. The spiritual law, it works with the direct impress of our thoughts. Now, here's something to keep in mind, too, because the universe doesn't recognize the word don't. So if I'm thinking, I don't want to run into any knuckleheaded drivers today, the universe hears, knuckleheaded drivers, here you go. I don't want to experience sickness. I want to experience sickness. Have a touch of flu. Play with that for 2 or 3 weeks and let me know how you like it. You know. So it takes that direct impression, but we can turn these thoughts around. We do it not just with our minds, but with our emotions, with our feeling. You know. And when you break down the spiritual prayer treatment, the first 2 pieces of that, the first piece is recognizing that there's that one life, that is God, that belongs to everybody. And the second piece is I'm connected to that. Recognition and unification. We have to convince ourselves that we're not subject to these conditions. We can change these conditions. This power can change these traditions. Our job is to get aligned with it. Our job is to discover through visioning what it's trying to tell us. And then once we know what that is, we got to do something. Or as one of my early spiritual teachers taught me, if you lock yourself in the closet and pray for food, God's not going to shove a hot dog through the keyhole. I'm probably going to have to put a little effort into it once I know what that right effort is. If I'm just out there willy-nilly and charging through and trying to throw some willpower at it and have my way, there's a good chance I might step on a couple of toes somewhere along the way. Because the ego likes to have control. It never wants to die. It wants to control everything. And it's actually there to protect us, but it gets in the way of our ability sometimes to recognize that we're one and that we're all one and that everybody we come in contact with is a child of God. There are some that are really good at concealing their divinity, I might point out. So this is very empowering and humbling at the same time because our lives are an outpicturing of our consciousness. When I started coming to this community regularly, I had just lost pretty much everything I owned, hundreds of thousands of dollars in debt, you know. And my life wasn't working very good. I wasn't feeling good inside. The thought crossed my mind that what I need is to raise my level of consciousness because I don't feel good. And I hadn't felt that bad in years, no matter what was going on. So I had to have that shift. Here's the thing that Ernest says about our word, and as I was talking about prayer treatment, he says our word has the exact amount of power that we put into it, not power through effort or strain, but power through absolute conviction and faith. Got to keep at it. Claudine, our lovely practitioner, Claudine Smith, likes to say, treat and move your feet. Get a little effort into it. We act with the trust. We don't necessarily see what it is we're calling for, but it's keeping our mind, it's keeping our focus in that direction, in the direction of that connection of that with calm confidence, abiding faith, and absolute trust. And that's hard. It takes a while to build that up. It only comes through practice, but it's well worth the effort, you know. So practice and the willingness to learn to use whatever we know so far as we've gone at this point in time. We do the best we can. And we don't have to do this by ourselves, you know. That's in the job description of the practitioner. We're here to provide prayer support and spiritual guidance. We're here to maintain that vision, to see the vision of the perfection that you are right here, right now. And we don't see those conditions. We got to see where we want to go. And sometimes if you don't have that, it's my job here to I hold that level of belief when I pray. You know, we hold that for each other. We can do that for each other. I'm not on the beam every single day. I've got other practitioners. I've got Dr. David. I've got meditation teachers, some other really wonderful mentors in this practice that I do classes with. I'm constantly learning and trying to raise that level of consciousness because it's not a static thing. We have to work at it and allow spirit to help us grow and to step away from the material world and to remember our sacred unity, our sacred oneness. So here's what Dr. Holmes says when we're running into any things that come up. He says, we do not have to overcome any condition because conditions flow from within out, not from out without in. So, it's not necessarily the condition, it's my response to it. What can I do to have that inner shift to bring me that acceptance? You're not at war with your circumstances. You're not fighting reality. You're simply changing the consciousness that produced those circumstances, and new conditions absolutely, positively must follow when you do that. This is how we shift out of these things. Now, we do share one life, too. So when we look at sacred kinship, Holmes says, this self-expression of God is also a self-expression of man, for the two are one. The I am is both individual and universal. All individuality merges into universality. All forms are rooted in one common creative mind, and the Spirit of God is the spirit of humanity. We are connected. We are always connected. It doesn't matter how we feel in any particular moment. It doesn't change the truth that we're connected. And it's like being in any room, Am I going to swear and tear and complain because it's dark when I can just reach behind me and flip a switch and voila, there's light? Wow, who knew? This is what's available to us. We don't have to wait for our good to come to us. It's here. It's here. It's right here. It's right now. And here's what Holmes says about this. He says, there's one mind expressing through infinite channels. And we know this. A good example of that is the CSL vision statement, which reads, we envision a world in which we live and grow as one global family that respects and honors the interconnectedness of all life, a world where kinship with all life prospers and connects through the guidance of spiritual wisdom. Now, that sounds really good, but it's not just poetic. This is metaphysical truth. Metaphysical truth beyond the physical, beyond what we can see. Because we can experience that. And that experience starts within. Those spiritual prototypes that we build become reality. They manifest themselves. We treat and move our feet. We treat until we are in that place that we want to be. Because we're not trying to manipulate the law. We're reminding ourselves that spirit, we're working with something that's on our side. It has our highest, best good. But it's like a cup, If you got an 8-ounce cup, that's going to fill up pretty quick and you can't get much into it. But if you got a gallon jug, you can put a little bit more into it. And guess what you have to do after you fill that up, no matter what size it is? You have to empty it out. That's the only way you get room for more. So we're in this continuous cycle of giving and receiving, this law of reciprocity. Our core concept number 7 tells us we live in a reciprocal universe. It's just as blessed to receive as it is to give. If you're only doing one of them, you are out of alignment with the law of circulation. And it's not just your own good that you're blocking good for the entire planet. All of this has to flow. We don't want to block that good. So Ralph Waldo Emerson says there's one mind common to individual people. We don't each have separate mind. We each have access to the one mind. The thoughts I think, the words I speak, and the consciousness I hold are all effects of the whole, because there's only one whole. When I'm out of alignment, it throws the rest of the world out of alignment. It has a negative impact. When I am in alignment and putting good energy out and bringing forth good things, and here's where it gets interesting. Because we're connected, what if we start thinking about a vision for somebody beside ourselves? How about getting up in the morning and praying for other people's good, for other people to have abundance in every form that it shows up, for peace in the world, for ways to make life better for other folks? That's the spiritual-based vision, as opposed to the vision of what's good for me. You don't have to change the letters to the radio station either. That great radio station, WIIFM, what's in it for me? We can make a really subtle shift. What's in it from me? Same letters, completely different energy. And we have a choice. We can step into that. And I'd love to know how you feel about that. Just doing that, if you really want to put this whole thing in high gear, do that for somebody you're having difficulty with. Call in as much good as you can for their well-being. And I think you'll probably get a little bit more out of that than just doing that for anybody. But you will get a result. So, infinite possibilities and sacred kinship work together beautifully. They do. When we recognize our unity, we gain access to infinite resources. We're no longer limited to our personal storehouse of ideas, energy, or creativity. We have access to the whole. None of us is as smart as all of us. When we get together and start talking about spiritual principles and learning these things in classes and workshops, and we're bouncing things off of each other, we amplify that brilliance that's already there by asking people these questions, because we have to step back and get out of our ego minds and start thinking at a different level. And it just brings out a lot of brilliance. That's why I love to continue to learn and take classes. If we're not growing, we're probably going backwards. So Holmes says that God can do for us only as we will allow him to do through us. Intelligence gives us ideas, and in our turn, we work on them. It's one thing to get this guidance. If I don't do anything with it, what good is it? I'm still just kind of in self at that point. So when we're in right relationship with other people, we honor our sacred kinship and become clearer channels for divine ideas. Let go of that negative energy. So if you think about it, you can ask where your best insights come from. Probably through conversations with other like-minded people that want to make a difference. How many of your breakthroughs happened when you were in community? How often has someone else's question opened up a door in your consciousness you didn't even know existed? This is the gift we give one another. This is sacred kinship in action. We need each other, not out of our weaknesses, but because the one life expresses through relationship. And our teaching says that all life is relationships, all of it. Your healing contributes to the healing of humanity. Your prosperity consciousness lifts the collective consciousness around abundance everywhere. Your peace radiates outward and changes the mental atmosphere of the planet. I would love to change the mental atmosphere of the planet in some way. It won't do me any good to complain about what I see that I don't like. That doesn't work. I have to envision that for myself and others to bring that about. So how do we actually live from this understanding? How do we do it? Well, the first thing we do is cultivate what Ernest Holmes calls spiritual discernment. We learn to distinguish between the voice of limitation and the voice of possibility. We must remove that thought of limitation from the mind. How's none of my business? That's God's job. If I'm got my fingers in how, I'm playing God. That's not going to get me very far. The second thing we do is practice holding high watch for each other. If you're struggling to see possibilities in a situation, I'll hold that vision for you. You know, other folks in this community will hold that vision for you. If you're caught in limitation, you're reminded of the divine nature that we have. We remind each other who we are. This is not codependency. This is conscious spiritual community at work. There's a big difference. Holmes writes that the practitioner realizes the word is the presence, power, and activity of truth, which is in him, which is almighty, which is God, beside which there is none other. When I treat for you, I'm not hoping that God will help you. I'm looking about the truth of the individual expression that you are of the infinite, with access to all the power, wisdom, and loves that exists in the universal mind. I'm treating for that you want to see, with calm confidence, abiding faith, and absolute trust that that's going to happen. It's my job to hold that space when you can't have it. It's also my job to allow others to do that for me when I can't hold that vision. You can't give away what you ain't got, folks. So it's all in practice. The third thing we do is we learn to move between stillness and action with grace. Deepak Chopra said that the combination of movement and stillness enables you to unleash your creativity in all directions, wherever the power of your attention takes you. And what Dr. Holmes says about this is God can only do for us as we allow him to do through us. Intelligence gives us ideas, and in our turn we work at them. We must comply with the law of activity. We go into silence to receive. We return to activity to express. This is the rhythm of co-creation. So, we're here. We're on the threshold of infinite possibilities. Not someday, but right here and right now. This spirit works immediately. There's no delay in that. Every spiritual prototype exists in the mind of God, and it's available to you in this moment. Peace, joy, abundance, creativity, wholeness, love. These aren't distant goals. They are present realities waiting for your mental equivalents to just embrace them. Right here, right now. So, this week, practice seeing infinite possibilities where you once saw limitation. When fear comes up, meet it with truth. When you encounter another person, remember, this is the one life greeting itself. Treat for someone each day knowing that their good is your good, because we're all one. And watch what happens when you live from this consciousness. Watch how doors open and resources appear. Notice how the universe conspires to support and lift you up. Because when you align with the infinite, anything and everything is possible. Please join me in prayer. We are so glad that we are blessed and connected to that limitless supply, knowing that the presence of God within is the source and supply of all our good. We are grateful to be channels of infinite love and peace and possibility. And we recognize our sacred connection to everyone and everything on this planet. And we recognize this with a great deal of joy, knowing that we have that ability to move within and make anything possible for ourselves by connecting with that one source that is willing to give us all we can take and much, much more. So we step into this place this week where we vision a world that works for everyone, where we seek the good of everyone around us, no matter what they do, no matter who they are. We recognize that kinship and we hold that space for sacred kinship with all of creation. And we hold that loosely, not grabbing it and attaching ourselves to it, but holding it loosely, hugging it, ready at the drop of a hat to give away all the good there is, because there is no limit. And the more that we give out, the more we take in. We are recognizing that there's no way to outgive God, and we walk in this consciousness all the days of our lives. I'm so grateful for all of the beautiful expressions of the divine here today to support me, those in the sound, within the sound of my voice everywhere, and those who have not heard of me, because we are all related. I say Nogama, all my relations, to every piece of creation that we see. And go forth in gratitude to recognize the miracle that is life and creation. And now release these words into that divine law that knows how to mold, make, shape, and create all the good there is, everywhere, all the time. I let this go, I let it be, and together we affirm, and so it is.
There is just one presence, there is just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is one great power we all can share, one great power everywhere. One great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting in prayer, one great power everywhere. One great power everywhere. There is just one purpose, just one spark, burning in our souls like a candle in the dark. There is just one chorus we all can sing, one great spirit, let it rain. Yeah, one great power, one great love, big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting on prayer, one great power everywhere. Yeah, one great power everywhere. Repeat after me, sing. One great power.
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 One great power. Yeah, one great power. One great power everywhere. One more time, sing. One great power.
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 One Just one presence, just one light, shining in the world like a beacon in the night. There is one great power we all can share. One great power everywhere. Yeah, one great power, one great love. Big as the ocean and the skies up above. One great spirit waiting on a prayer. One great power everywhere. Yeah, there's one great power everywhere. One great power everywhere.
Thank you, kid. Yeah.